You know that strange feeling when it seems like the nicer you are, the less you're respected? It's this really uncomfortable thing that can happen. Well, today we're diving headfirst into a pretty provocative idea that all that training we got to be nice might actually have a hidden and very real cost. So, first up, let's unpack what we're calling the niceness paradox. This is that bizarre conflict between our good intentions and, well, the not so great results they can sometimes bring. I mean, it's one of the first lessons we ever learn, right? Be nice, be kind, be accommodating. It's pitched to us as the absolute foundation of being a good person and, building solid relationships. But here's the question that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. What if, when you take it to the extreme, that's actually bad advice? What if being too nice is the very thing that's holding you back? This leads us right into what we can call the too nice trap. Look, this isn't about just being polite. We're talking about a pattern. It's that feeling of always agreeing, even when you secretly don't. It's always being the one who understands when other people are being completely unreasonable. And it's always adjusting your needs, your schedule, your whole life for everybody else. So why is this a trap? Well, it all comes down to this really powerful social dynamic. Let's call it the value equation. And it basically pits kindness against respect. Okay, this one idea right here, this is the core of our entire discussion. It might feel a little backward at first, but just think about it for a second. Deep down, humans are often wired to respect boundaries even more than they appreciate just unconditional kindness. And this just lays it out perfectly. Look at the two sides. On the left, always agreeing, sure, it's well-intentioned, but it can accidentally signal low value. But on the right, setting clear, firm boundaries, that commands high respect. The difference in how people see you is just, it's massive. It's almost like a simple case of emotional economics. If your yes is always on the table, if it's just the default answer, it loses its scarcity, it loses its power. It starts to feel like an expectation, not a gift, and its perceived value just plummets. And this is exactly where those good intentions can start to go wrong. Let's walk through the slippery slope of how kindness can actually backfire step by step. It's a really slow, subtle process. It kicks off with you just being constantly available. Then, because of that, your yes starts to lose its weight. It doesn't mean as much. And that's the moment when people, and often they don't even realize they're doing it, they start testing your boundaries, pushing those limits a little bit more. And the final painful result, respect just quietly erodes. Often you don't even notice until it's already gone. This is pretty much the end game of the too nice trap. Your kindness becomes the baseline. It gets taken for granted. And once that happens, people feel like they have this unspoken permission to cross limits they would never, ever dream of crossing with someone who has clearer boundaries. Okay, I know this might all sound a bit pessimistic, but it's really not, because there's an incredibly effective tool we can use to fight this whole cycle. It's time to talk about the immense power of a tiny two-letter word, no. Maybe the most important thing we can do is just reframe this word in our minds. Saying no is not an attack, it's not a sign of aggression or trying to start a fight. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It's just you calmly and clearly stating that your time, your energy, and your priorities have value. And I really can't stress this enough. The whole point is not to become rude or unkind. This is not a license to be a jerk. It is simply about finding a healthy balance between being generous to other people and having respect for yourself. All right, let's bring this all together for the final takeaway. How do we actually apply this stuff in our own lives? It really is all about finding your personal balance. So why does all this matter? Because the goal here is absolutely not to be less kind. Come on, the world needs more kindness, for sure, not less. The goal is to be more respected, because when your kindness comes from a place of strength and self-respect, when it's a conscious choice, not a default setting, it just lands with so much more impact. It's valued, it's appreciated. It actually means something. So I'll leave you with this final thought to take with you. Just take a second to look at your life, your job, your family, your friendships, and ask yourself this. What is one no, one small boundary you could set today that might just start to change everything?